What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco. It is Philly the podcast, man. You know what it is. So today we are going to talk about these free agents. All right, the Eagles' decision making has not stopped just because we got a coaching staff. We got to figure out who we're gonna keep and who we're gonna let walk. So we're gonna do a little stay or go. All right, Philly the podcast edition. Now, before we do get into this, please do hit that like, hit that subscribe. We are trying to grow this channel. I'm trying to hit 1,200 by the end of the month. Gonna be hard. I need like 50 people. So if you guys can help me out, I would really appreciate that. But without further ado, let's get into this. I'm literally just gonna go down the list. I'm not gonna necessarily, rank them or anything like that. So we'll start with Greg Ward. Look, he's an exclusive rights free agent, so we can give him whatever we really feel is right. He has to come back. I don't think there's much talk that needs to happen here. He's been very solid. He's been very reliable. And realistically, he could be probably a number two, definitely a number three on most NFL teams. So I think just the reliability, get him off of punt return. Don't get me wrong. Do not let him return punts anymore. But as far as a wide receiver goes, he's been nothing but, I hate to keep saying the word, but nothing but reliable. And that's what we need, a sure pair of hands and someone that doesn't get hurt very much. He's been on the field for us. So I have to say Greg Ward has to stay. Now, Alex Singleton, I've been pounding the table for him for a while. Him and TJ Edwards, I feel like really came on towards the end of the season when, somebody went on IR. We'll talk about him soon. But look, I like Alex Singleton. I think we'll get him pretty cheap. He's very young. I think he's 28. I mean, not very, but he's pretty young. So, I say bring him back. I say give him another, maybe 2-year deal, maybe even a 1-year deal, depending on what we're going to do at the linebacker position this offseason. I think he's someone he'll be a very good backup if we can get some very good starters. I'll put it that way. So I would love to see Alex Singleton back. That boy got some pop. Now, this next linebacker is probably a fan favorite, Nate Gerry. Nate Gerry's 26 years old. Do I really have to say it? Do I really have to? I mean, get that snake out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm tired of these snakes on this team. You feel me? Yeah. So Nate Gerry, you can go. You can leave. I don't want to see you back at all. Just bye. It was. I wish I could say it was a nice time. It wasn't. Just go. Now the next guy. Look, I feel like running back is going to be a position that a lot of people are going to they're going to differ on their opinions here. Okay. So we're going to start with Boston Scott. Boston Scott, I feel like he's someone you bring back. I do. I feel like he's someone that you bring back. We know what he can be. This year was off for everyone. And this year, I feel like he disappeared, whether it be, just his play was lacking and, that big pop that he was having 2019, I should say. Or if it's just, lack of actual plays, he did not get the ball that much. He didn't get targeted that much. So he's someone I would love to see under Nick Sirianni. I think that they'll bring him back. Again, he's another guy that's pretty young, 26 years old. So I say bring Boston Scott back. Let me know what you guys think about him. Now, another running back we're going to go at. This one's going to be hard. Corey Clement. Now, shout out to Corey Clement. We've had his cousin on the show before. His cousin sang at the Cowboys versus Eagles game. He sang the national anthem for that game. So as much as it hurts, look, his snaps, he was on 9% of the snaps. I mean, that says a lot. Like I said, like the usage of these players was not where I wanted it to be. So I feel like Corey Clement didn't get the fair shot that he deserved. But on the same token, he's hurt a lot, which is, I hate to, it is what it is. It's a gladiator sport, but I feel like we can probably find another undrafted free agent like we found with him. He's 27 now. I think it's time that we just move on from Corey Clement. I think Boston Scott should stay, but I think we should move on from Corey Clement, mostly just because of the injury history. And I think we can find someone, that can fill his role. So I'm going to move on from Corey Clement. Sucks to say, but I think that's something we should do. And I think he'll have a good career somewhere else. I think he'll still have a good 3-4 years in him. Now we'll move to safety. We have Rudy Ford and Jalen Mills. So Rudy Ford, I think he's a special team ace. I really like him on special teams. Special teams is very important, and we have a new special teams coach, so I think we should give him, the best players we can, and I think that Rudy Ford is one of our better special teams players. So I say for that reason alone, you keep him. To be honest, I think Rudy Ford can, maybe he can develop into a backup or a starter at that cornerback position or safety position, I should say. But I say keep him because you're going to get him for cheap. And like I said, he's going to be a very important role on that special teams. Now, Jalen Mills. Jalen Mills is a hard one. You can't let go of everybody, right? You can't let go of everybody. I like Jalen Mills. I'm a big fan of Jalen Mills, what he brings to this team as far as his passion, his energy. I feel like he's a great leader. I don't even want to say leader, just a great teammate. He's a great teammate. The play has been up and down. I feel like he might be a better cornerback. He might be better suited for a cornerback. This one's interesting for me. He was obviously on the field a lot for us. Yeah, I'm going to bring back Jalen Mills, and it's going to be probably another year, maybe 2-year deal at the most, just to kind of because we don't have anything else, and maybe you move him back to that cornerback position, and maybe he flourishes at the cornerback 2 position. Because when he was at cornerback, he never had, obviously, someone like Darius Slay across from him. So I'm going to say bring Jalen Mills back, but probably move him back to cornerback and try and get a younger safety or maybe a veteran safety on free agency. So I'll bring Mills back. Now we'll move to tight end. So we have Richard Rodgers and we have Josh Perkins. Josh Perkins and Richard Rodgers. This should be interesting. Obviously, there's rumors of, Zach Ertz not being an Eagle next year. So if that's the case, I would like to keep Richard Rodgers. I feel like Richard Rodgers has been very reliable when he's on the field. He's played very well. Josh Perkins has done, he's done decently. I think he's a very good blocking tight end. I think Richard Rodgers gives us a better blend of both, personally. So these I'm going to kind of mash them together. I'm going to say go ahead and keep Richard Rodgers because you'll keep him probably for cheap again. And then we'll move on from Josh Perkins. He's somebody that I feel like can probably end up on our practice squad at some point or back on the roster. But for now, I say move on from Josh Perkins. And then we move to punter. Cameron Johnston is a free agent. I don't think that he's a restricted free agent. I don't think there's much debate that needs to happen here. You bring back Cam Johnston. I mean, it's not a fun position. Nobody's going to sit here and make a highlight tape for the punter, but he's been very good. And he has a boot. And we see with our kicker position that, listen, the leg is a very important part of this football team. So it's important to have a good punter, and I'm glad we have Cam Johnston. I don't see him moving on. Obviously, Keyvon Seymour was already re-signed, so to I think a futures deal, something like that. But Nicole Roby-Coleman and Keyvon LeBlanc are also free agents. We'll start with Nicole Roby-Coleman. We'll start with Keyvon LeBlanc, excuse me. Keyvon LeBlanc, he's 27 years old. Up and down. I feel like he had a really good first, when he first emerged, he was doing really well. Very undersized for the position, kind of the theme of our cornerbacks right now. I want to say that we're going to get somebody in free agency or draft this position. We might not. I'm going to say keep Keyvon. I'm going to say keep Keyvon for a year or two. And, if we can draft someone, competent at the position, then maybe that changes this. But we're probably going to move forward with Avonte Maddox at that, cornerback, at that slot position, I should say. And we all know his injury history. So having someone like Keyvon LeBlanc would just kind of shore that position up for me because we need somebody that can, hold down the slot. If something is to happen, we don't want to start moving too many pieces around. And we saw what happened when we let go of Rasul and Sidney Jones. We just kind of didn't have the depth to deal with the injuries that we dealt with in the secondary. So I'm going to keep Keyvon LeBlanc. But now Nicole Roby-Coleman, slot god, you need to go. I'm good. I'm all the way set on you. He was a disappointment. Look, man, I'm not going to sit here and talk too much junk because I couldn't go out there and, he could cover me 10 out of 10 plays. I ain't gonna cap. He would kill me. I'm not athletic. He's a good athlete. He's a great NFL player when he was on other teams. But, man, you unfortunately were a very big disappointment for the Philadelphia Eagles. And slot God, all this stuff, man. Nah, yeah, you got to go, bro. Like, you got to go. You just got to go. There's not much to say about that. I'm good on the experiment. We tried. It failed. Time to move on. I mean, he's 29 years old. I'm good. You can't move to the outside. You're not playing well in the slot. So it's like, it makes no sense. What are we going to do? Move you to safety too? I'm good. We're good on him. I think it's time for Nicole Roby to move on and be a slot god somewhere else. Shout out to Simone Staley. She said slot god awful. I agree. I definitely agree. Now we'll go on to the defensive line. I'm going to kind of mash them together because there's only two of them that I see. And that's going to be Hassan Ridgway, and I'm losing my spot on here. I apologize. And Vinnie Curry. So Hassan Ridgway and Vinnie Curry. Vinnie Curry is 33 years old, first of all, but we saw that he's still productive in the time that we give him. I'm scared to move on from Vinnie Curry just because I feel like we might move on from some of these from someone like Brandon Graham or maybe Derek Barnett. So you want to have that depth. But I think it's probably best for us to move on from Vinnie Curry. Again, he's another guy that I could see maybe midway through the season or a couple games into the season, we bring him back onto the roster. But right now, I think it's better to focus on what youth we have, which brings me to Hassan Ridgway. Obviously, he's a defensive tackle. Vinnie Curry's an outside guy. But Hassan Ridgway is a younger guy, 27 years old. We don't have much. We won't have to put much capital into him, and we've seen flashes from him. And I feel like our inside interior D line was kind of iffy last year, and especially when you see Fletcher Cox go down, it's like a whole new defensive line. Everything changes. So I want to keep Hassan Ridgway for the simple fact I think he can become something, and he can be great depth at the very least. Now we'll move on to the quarterback situation. And I'll go back actually because I forgot to say Duke Riley. Duke Riley, I know that's Brandon's favorite player on the Eagles right now. I mean, he had a couple good games. He did decently. We don't have linebackers, so it really comes down to what we're going to do in free agency and what we're going to do in the draft. I personally would like to see Duke Riley back, again, because of the special teams aspect. Don't necessarily want to see him playing as a linebacker next year, maybe a backup. But I think a special teams aspect of him is very important. So I would bring back Duke Riley as a special team guy. So, and then we'll go to Nate Sudfeld. So Nate Sudfeld, this gets very interesting, right? Because this is what I've been talking about for a while. We have to move on, in my opinion, from either Carson Wentz or Jalen Hurts. Reason being, you can't have that controversy, but you still want to have a good backup. You still want to have a backup that knows this team. Obviously, it's going to be a new offense, so that doesn't really necessarily matter. But he knows this team. He has a rapport with this team, with the players that are on this team. So he can have a little bit of continuity, especially if you go with someone like Jalen Hurts. You have someone like Nate Sudfeld, who's older, that's, a little bit more of the veteran and can kind of help Jalen Hurts along the way. And even if you don't keep Jalen Hurts, if you keep someone like Carson Wentz, you still have a what we all think is a reliable, or at least hope is a reliable backup for a couple games. We've seen what backup quarterbacks are, or how important they are in this league time and time again. Unfortunately, we're in a position where it seems like we can't have two good quarterbacks, or else it creates drama. So, Nate Sudfeld, I guess, is the next best option to have a middle-of-the-road type guy that you're not afraid is going to take your starting spot. So I think Nate Sudfeld is someone we should really try to keep around. I don't know if he will want to stay. He's 28 years old. So this is kind of his make-or-break time. If he is going to try and find a starting role or a place that he can fight for a starting role, which I don't necessarily think is in his cards, but, hey, I hope that he can. If he wants to do that, this is the time. This is probably the last time he can try and get that bag somewhere, right? So, in my opinion, I say go ahead and try and keep him just so you have some continuity. So you have a backup quarterback no matter what happens with Hurts and Carson Wentz. And you move forward and you figure it out from there. Now, the last guy I left for last is the Hall of Famer. Jason Peters, we all heard his French lesson that he was doing, I guess, on IG Live or something like that, saying "we" a lot, and I didn't know why he was saying "we." I was hoping he was saying "we" as like a fan, because I say "we" as in us as our Eagles and stuff like that. But I don't know. He sounded like he wanted to come back. My man is 39 years old. JP, man, nah, man, JP, you gotta go. I love you, bro. I appreciate everything you've done, but nah, bro. It's over. It's over. You had a great career. It is time to hang it up. Let some of these young. But I would love to see him come back as like a coach or an assistant coach, a la Jason Avant, or even what D'Amico Ryans did, for the linebackers in San Fran. And now look at him. I would love to see Jason Peters come back in some type of capacity where he teaches these young guys, but as a player, dog, nah, bro, and not even depth. I know some people are like, well, you need to, bro. Nah, man, it's time to move on. I'd rather see a young 25, 27-year-old fail and learn than see Jason Peters go out there and give us maybe one or two good games, maybe, because we know at some point, unfortunately, he's gonna be on that injury list. And I don't wish it on anyone. We just see it. We know the history, and we can't keep ignoring this history. They said it last year, and they kind of fell against it. They said last year that they weren't going to go against history and look at these players' injury history and not try and be the smartest guy in the room. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what they were saying. They didn't do that, so we need to do that this year. Jason Peters, I love you, but you need to go, my guy. You need to go. So that is all of our free agents. Let me know what you guys think. Who would you want to keep? Who would you want to go? I was under the impressions that Travis Fulgham is some type of free agent. I looked at a couple different, lists, and they don't have him. Just to cover my bases, because I'm pretty sure we have exclusive rights on him too. He definitely has to stay, just so we're all on that same page. So just to throw that one in there. I know he's not on the list, but had to throw that one in there. But other than that, man, you guys let me know what you think. And yeah, you know what it is, man. It is Fly Eagles Fly, and we are out here. Peace.